Hey everybody, I hope that your week's going really well. Again, you're listening to the Where Are We podcast, where we talk about Indigenous people in the media. And this is kind of a different style that I usually put together. This is mainly just a way for me to tell you what I'm thinking about this certain topic today. You know, I have put out a couple of these things, they're only about 5 minutes long, but I get more comments and feedback on them. So again, thank you so much for commenting on my podcast. In today's short version of the Where Are We podcast, we're talking about Suicide Squad and the role of the Indigenous superhero. And if you have not yet seen Suicide Squad and you still want to and don't really want any spoilers, well then I'm sorry, and I hate to do this, but you should probably turn this off because I kind of reveal a lot of stuff in here. Okay? Give you a second. Okay, so now that I know that you've seen the movie, here is something that I have just got to tell you about it because it's been really irking in me for a while and I just had to share it, okay? So, first of all, I was extremely excited to find out that an Indigenous superhero or supervillain, whatever, was in a movie. You know, we hardly ever see it, if ever see that, in a film. But for Suicide Squad, they have one of the biggest Indigenous actors playing the Indigenous villain. Okay, so it's Adam Beach. Yes, Adam Beach, who was the main character. He played Victor Joseph in one of the most influential Indigenous films of possibly our lifetime called Smoke Signals. And they kill him off after about a total of 3 minutes screen time. And only about 25 minutes into the movie, after not being in it for 15 minutes. You see, when I first saw the trailers and the advertisements and everything, I was so excited. You have no idea. I almost cried. I could not stop talking about it for months, that Adam Beach, an Indigenous man from Canada, was going to be in this film. And then when I went to go see the film, I almost walked out. But I didn't because I don't like to waste money. And, I mean, overall, I did like the film. But that is something that really irked me, okay? So basically, in the trailers and in all the advertisements, they have Adam Beach's character, who plays Slipknot in the film. They had him always in these advertisements. So of course that would lead someone to believe that they're one of the main characters of the film. Like, am I wrong to see this? I've seen so many films and so many trailers, and usually the people that they feature are in the movie for a long time. I know that Suicide Squad got a ton of bad press about whatever, but it was a great film. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved the cinematography in it. You know, the Enchantress was really, really lame, but whatever. The Joker and Harley Quinn's characters and Deadshot's characters were on point. I loved it so much. However, when Slipknot was killed off after only having 4 minutes of screen time maximum, it really makes you think about where the priorities were. Now, apparently, I did some research on it, and the director wanted to pay homage to some comic book where Slipknot did try to, you know, leave or something like that, and he did die. But it's like, maybe you could show that at the end of the movie, or maybe when you do like a second, third, or fourth movie. I don't know. But in the first movie, you just kill him off. It just turned an exciting experience, possibly for me and other Indigenous people, to go see this movie and to actually acknowledge that there was an Indigenous man in the movie and just ruined it. It makes you think, is this really the way that our society is, where a character, no matter how violent or whatever the character may be, brings hope to people's eyes? Say, okay, this is a guy in a mainstream film who is Indigenous. Imagine what more we can do. But no, they decided just to kill the character off. And of course, you can see why this is kind of a big issue. Okay, so there's my little heart-to-heart with you. I hope that you enjoyed this week's podcast. Again, we're going to start up next week with a special segment on Indigenous people's representation in video games, so stay listening for that. I hope that you have a good rest of your week. Go ahead and watch Suicide Squad just to kind of get a feel of what you have. And if you have any opinions about this, well, do what you normally do and let me know in the comments section, or send me an email at wherearewe@google.com. And I hope to hear from you and hear what you have to say about it. Maybe you'll be featured in next week's podcast or a podcast later on. Again, my name's Jazz, and thank you for listening to the Where Are We podcast, where we talk about Indigenous people in the media.